Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Just grinding out some hands, so I thought I need to get some more volume in. Why don't I record a YouTube video, try and do a little play and explain. I've got 351 tables and one 2550, just the tables I had stacked on for Russian cash basically. So here, bottom right, we opened the king queen. We got a flat in the small blind, big blind overcalls, and on this board texture, we're going to use a big bet size. When our opponent leads out for small, I still think we want to be raising a hand like king, queen. He's going to very rarely have a hand like ace, king. He will have some two pairs, but also lots of hands we can get value from. So we're going to start with a bet. Opponent calls. And just going to bet this turn again. Now again, we can get value off worse hands like king, jack, hands like ace 10, and some flush draw hands. And the nice thing about these spots is I think people play these pretty face up for the most part. We're going to also have hands like queen, jack and sets, so he can't just do whatever he wants here. Or he can do, but we're going to be protected, so I guess that's even more important. And we get squeezed up by this player. I'm going to call ace queen pure. In the top right. Flop comes 10-6-4. And we'll see what Jin decides to do. It was a very big squeeze pre-flop. Feels like ace king, but we don't know just yet. Start with a check back on the flop with our ace queen. And when he checks twice here, I'm going to start betting now. With this ace queen. Our ace and our queen outs are usually good when we get called. And we have good fold equity. I think theory-wise this would check down, but I think it plays better as a turn bet against population. In that line, though, you can have a lot of ace-king hands, and any hands that we lose to are going to bluff the river. It's hard to make an assessment there, so calling the ace-queen again, top left, and flopping a flush draw here. Mad player MD snap checks. Start with a bet. King on the turn is interesting. Going to check now. I think our range would check on this turn. And we will be bluffing on the river here. I just don't think our opponent has that many strong hands in this line. And, oh, he had queen jack. He just flopped the nuts with the redraw. Nice hand. Yeah, even with this call, we're going to have nuts here. We're going to have hands like king 10. We're going to have hands like 10s and 9s. Obviously, when he has a hand like queen jack of hearts, he's just always winning. But that's not a hand you will see that often from population in the big blind. He just flopped the absolute nuts and won a lot. The nice thing about betting with the ace queen in that spot is that we actually block queen jack and we have a redraw, so works really nicely for that. Can't call the ace, the 8-3. Yeah, obviously it looks silly when we get called down top left, but I don't mind the play. Like I say, you're going to very rarely see queen jack suited there. As played, it seems good. 10's no action. I just do big bet on this flop, especially super deep. And we're going to big bet here with our ace king, take it down. So yeah, we can always check on the turn top left on that king 10-9 because I think our range will do checking. We're going to have all the flushes by the river. We're going to have all the full houses. So yeah. Worked out for him that time. But even against that hand that's got the nuts, we have 3 outs to the jack. So that's why we kind of select that hand. We check twice here. Going to call a turn bet. Nice flop for a6. And we beat the queen 10. Exit Lude, calls our c-bet. We're going to check on the turn. 10, we're going to check a lot of hands here on the turn. And just checking down. Lose to the 6s, unfortunately. I think that's a hand that's going to fold on the flop a lot. Not this time. These massive squeezes. Open up the 5-4. So yeah, not a lot going on at the moment. We'll open up the ace-queen top left and fold the 5-4 to a raise from a tighter player. I mean, we're going to fold it to any raise, but turn the 8 bottom right. Going to start betting for value now. Thor's Poker Buddy. I mean, the only problem with this size is that, ooh, he does go for a small raise. We're just going to re-raise this. I mean, I don't think he has much 6-7. Then obviously no aces, no kings. He's going to have some hands like ace-9, which you might feel like he can raise. I'd be upset to see 6-7 that calls the turn, min clicks the river. Looks like we're going to see it. We do see the 6-7. Maybe we can just call on the river versus nit raises, but I think a hand that calls on the turn and min clicks on the river is just not going to be a spot that we're ever going to want to call a set there. He's going to have some 2-pair combos. And some sets. He's more likely to have 5s there than 6-7 in my opinion. Kind of wild that we run into it. It turns out that the 8 was not the turn that we were after. Of course. Just running into the nuts in every hand at the moment. But yeah, unfortunate to see that one for sure. Very unfortunate. Yeah, it'd just be way too nitty to call with the 8s on the river in my opinion. Unfortunately, we just see the nuts again. Very frustrating. Raise up our aces top right. Start with the c-bet down here. Mad player doesn't decide to continue on this one. And on the turn here, we're going to go for an overbet with the double gut shot on this dry board. Two draws to the nuts on a board with no like made hands out there. we're just going to have range advantage, or we can do this with queens, with eights, with sevens, with deuces. We could do this with some queen eight hands if we wanted to. And we can just apply a lot of pressure there with a high equity draw. Versus mad player here. We'll be going for the re-raise. And not folding. Nines. He goes for the 3-bet shove with the nines. Which is obviously not a thing. I hope it doesn't reward him. It does. This is just way too loose, guys. I'm going to have aces, kings, queens, jacks, and ace-king. Nines is never a shove there. It's a poor play. This guy gets away with it so often. And it's so frustrating. So frustrating. He's just dominated too often there. You can't shove a hand like nines. I'm seeing it so much. These players do it, but I'm never showing up. Like, most of the time there, I'm going to have a pair stronger than nines, right? But I'm just seeing these guys turn up with the nuts, or like with these nines, eights, tens hands, only when I have ace king, but never when I don't, which is really odd. It's just variance, but like the times where I have aces, kings, queens, jacks there, I'm just printing money. But you need to have those hands, and like, if they're shoving nines there, they're just losing a fortune. They're losing an absolute fortune. It's fucking awful. Sorry for that guy. Especially against the pool. Just too wide. But he wins. He runs it once and wins. Makes the bad play, runs it once and wins, which is not what you love to see. I'm going to call with the 10-8 bottom left. Start with a big bet, pushing our equity with the ace-4. No action. Ace-jack will open. 10-8 will fold. Nice hand. Sanajang. This is very strong. From most players, very strong. From him, not sure. And we'll go for some small value on the river. Start with a big bet with the 8-9. Would rather have a backdoor suit, but just think this bet performs fine. With the redraw to the 7, and people are going to call a 5 and a 6 a lot on the flop as well, so we actually have outs to the 8 and the 9 often. Just checking down. So when you get to these river spots, the question is like, once you've made the flop bet, how many hands are you going to get to fold with the river bet? And in my opinion, when we bet big on the flop, we're just not going to get that many folds on the river in that line. Even on the queen, which is a relatively good card for us. You're just not going to see that many. We'll go small bet here. On the flush. Can do some checking. Can do some small betting, both are fine. No ice checks on the flop, and I will bet on the turn. Looks like he's going to raise. Interesting line from our friend here. I don't know what he's doing, but we're obviously going to have all the flushes there and all the straights. RD Fisher. Go for a small raise with the 5-6. I like this play because he's rarely going to shove. We're going to get folds from some hands. And even hands that are beating us, we have really good equity against. So using the small raise there means that we get the fold equity of the actual raise in itself, but it doesn't really invest that much more money in the pot against like the nuts. So yeah, specifically with the pair and the straight draw. The pair and the flush draw, sorry. 5-3, we're going to bluff this. Looks like we're going to get called. He does fold. Thought about calling. Found the fold. So we squeezed up the ace-8 here. We get a nice flop 4 ways on 8-8-6, especially on the 2-tone. I'm just going to start with a big bet here. They're going to have lots of straight draws, some flush draws, clearly none of them on this. Some flush draws, some overpairs. Unfortunately not this time, but I think on those wetter textures, just using the bigger size performs really well. Easy call against Roger. Cool. And with the kings here, we are going to go for the 4-bet. King Jack beats ace king. Obviously not folding with the kings here. All in. Do you see the ace king? Pretty standard. Go twice, see if we can hold. We hold the first. Can we hold 2? We can. So we get one back. (10-8). We're never going to fold a suited gapper or anything like that to this small size versus a recreational. I think anyone taking this size is going to mostly be a recreational at this stake. Not always. And we'll overcall here. Again, this is exploitative, but tend to do very well in these situations. Go for a raise on the left on the 9-high board versus a half pot size. And we're going to fold on the king-high 3 ways. Take it down on the left. So the assessment here needs to be like, we need to use some hands that are higher equity if we're going to have some raises, but on these boards in particular, we do want to do a decent amount of raising, especially versus recreationals. Versus LLZ, going to be raising up our 4s. And we're going to go for some thin value here with the 10-high flush. It's not thin in theory, but in practice it's quite thin just because you're not going to get enough of those calls. Okay. Ace on the turn now. Deciding if I want to bet or check. I think the small bet works well here. I think big bet looks way too strong on an ace turn. And we are just going to overbet this river. See a fold, unfortunately, from our friend. I'm assuming we 3-bet this, which is a mistake in these positions. Would have been an autopilot. Do you see the 10-9, which is also a mistake? Works for him this time. But yeah, it's funny. A few people in the pool do say like, "Oh, why are you calling so wide pre-flop? Like your pre-flop plays are so weird." But I think in these 3-bet pot spots, there's like definitely money to be made from people essentially just c-betting range on like every board. And if you've got a strategy to sort of combat that, you can see really good returns. Jack 10, super deep. I think versus Killer King, we're going to fold this. He's very tight, and I haven't seen him do a 3-bet in those positions yet. Wow. We do get a 3-bet with the aces. And we're going to do a small 4-bet here, which is completely standard in position. So let's do that. Call the 7s down bottom right. Flop a 7. King 5, we go for a small c-bet. I like it on these boards where we have backdoor flush draw. And versus Steven, he's just dead here. We're going to start putting some money in. I want to bet a size where he has to call like ace king. Go for a small bet. And with the aces, we just start off with a small c-bet. Trying to get value off hands like ace queen, ace king. And we see the snap raise. Just a shove here. If we see queens or jacks, it's very unfortunate. We want to get in versus hands that have very little equity and all the draws. 7s is an automatic call. And snap call with the 7s here. Steven has the ace jack. Can we dodge a 3? We can, and we hold for 409 big blinds. Last hand top right. See what Lu Mingwei wants to do. He does go for the call. And we do see the kings. Can we hold on both spots, guys? Very impressed that he thought about folding that. Very impressed. And we do take down both. Running hot, guys. That's going to be the session for today. I hope you enjoyed it. We had an interesting hand with the ace queen top left, and then some like nice flops here, big callers. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys on the next YouTube video. For now, take it easy. Peace.